Welcome to the Bellator MMA post-fight show for 208. I am Jenn Brown here, joined alongside Frank Mir, Josh Thomson. Guys, I mean, talk about that was fight of the night for sure. I'm going to start with you, Josh, because you were up here. I was listening to you guys, watching you watch the fight as we watched it. Josh, I heard you say that's vintage Fedor right there. What did you mean, and what do you think about what we saw?
Reckless abandonment. Didn't care. Knew that he could take the fight anywhere. Like we talked about the whole night, was that he could win this fight anywhere he wanted. He could have won it on the ground. He had a beautiful hip toss, able to reverse the throw and then right to get to the top position. He did everything right tonight. He looked like he was starting to get a little gas towards the end there, but I mean, all the things that we had talked about all show, he did. He delivered the big power punches. Chael Sonnen talked about how fast he was. Sure, he'd seen it on TV. He never experienced it in real life. Tonight he experienced it in real life, and he realized at the end, you heard him say it, very humble. He said, man, he's really fast and he hits really hard, right, Frank?
Absolutely. He still showed his quickness, his speed, his resilience to come back even after being taken down. He stayed calm, even though he had dropped Chael, and Chael started becoming very much of a pain, you know, moving around, and the way he was avoiding being able to take that final shot, and Fedor was able to stay in there and finish the deal.
Did anything surprise you out there tonight? From what we saw, was there any surprises?
Yeah, honestly, not really for me. I mean, I saw everything I thought I was going to see. I just was hoping that that's the type of Fedor we were going to see. But honestly, Bellator hasn't been blessed to see the real Fedor Emelianenko till tonight, and that tonight was amazing. I'm like still kind of.
He was fanboying over here.
I'm fanboying over here. You guys saw me. I mean, I fought in some other organizations over in Pride, and he was always there, and it was just amazing to actually see him perform the way I know he could perform here in Bellator, and it was great for me.
Frank, I saw you make a little bit of a face when I asked that question. What are you thinking?
I think Bader's going to do very well, and it kind of upsets me a little bit. I got to be honest with you. When you lose to somebody, you want that person to go on and win. Because then you're like, okay, I lost to the guy that won the whole thing. I can sleep with it. What I just saw tonight and what I saw last night, I'm thinking Bader's going to be a two-belt champion here. I think that he's not going to make the same mistakes. He hits hard. He's going to take Fedor down. He's not going to do the roll that Chael did. And when he gets on top of Fedor, you've seen Fedor was breathing hard. Yep. I seen Bader last night go 3 hard rounds and not breathe hard.
Not only did he go hard, but he went hard with a guy that was bigger. I mean, he looked amazing last night. Let's not discredit what Ryan Bader did last night.
Rounds. He completely dominated.
By wrestling. You know how hard that is to do to somebody, to wrestle into a 10-8 round?
Well, when you've been wrestling your whole life, it's not that hard.
But he kept up the constant pace, the beating. I mean, I'm telling you, as a fighter, I'm looking and watching. I'm going, damn, I should have shot on Fedor more. I mean, just you're looking at it going, wow, like Bader has all the qualities. I'm looking at, if I'm in Fedor's camp right now, if I saw last night and saw what Chael was able to do and survive, you're going to fight a bigger, stronger, faster, younger version of that doesn't make those mistakes.
So very true. Chael did make some mistakes where he tried to do the roll through to take the back. I don't know what he was thinking. You're sweaty already. It's like 3 minutes in. I don't know why he did that, and it basically just led to him costing him the fight. Yeah. But all those things saying though, all those things being said, he looked great tonight. Let's not discredit Fedor Emelianenko. No. He looked amazing. He was able to ragdoll Chael Sonnen around and let everyone know that he still had something left in the tank.
No, he still showed phenomenal speed. Still had great power. The things that makes him great, he still did. I'm just saying that the holes that I see in the game, I'm like, wow, the guy here that we're bringing on has all the answers.
Oh, that's right. We did bring Ryan Bader up, but here's a look you guys saw there in the bracket. That's how we got to where we are. It's going down January 26th, and now we are going to get to hear from him right now. Hey, Ryan, we just saw you face off there inside the cage. You asked for Fedor Emelianenko yesterday after you won. That wish has been granted, but we also just heard Chael talk about that power. What did you think about what you saw tonight?
It was impressive. You know, he went in there and made Chael feel really, really uncomfortable. You know, I think that was a big part of it. He was throwing bombs in there. He hit Chael hard a few times. Chael was taking some bad shots because of it and ended up finishing the fight. His hips were good, too. I don't think we've seen that for a while. But he was, he was throwing out whizzer, popping it over. He looked very, very impressive.
I mean, how discouraging is it, though, to shoot takedowns like that and be ragdolled off like that? I mean, it makes you not want to shoot him. Maybe you can...
Big time, yeah. You get in there and you miss a couple shots like that, and you're like, oh, man, what do I have now? You know, and especially if you're Chael there, you're like, that was my whole game plan. It's out the window. Now what do I do? And so I think he kind of panicked a little bit.
Especially when he got in deep on that one, he was able to get the throw, and he was able to get the takedown.
Yeah.
But then Fedor switched it and hip tossed him and rolled him through. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I didn't think that was good for Chael at all. I think that was a demoralizing point in the fight right there. And he said, oh man, you know, I was going to do this to him, and now he's on top of me, raining down those big Fedor bombs. So yeah, I mean, Fedor looked very, very impressive. He looked, you know, I saw things in his game that I can exploit. So
you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, just just looking at him.
Very humble.
Yeah,
but I gotta be honest. I'm sure you were sitting there going, man, in that position, if I get there,
100%.
and I can easily get there better than Chael did.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do to him?
Yes, in those positions, and then even blasting through those shots on some of them. And then with Fedor just keeping his hands low, you know, and then, you know, I feel like he was getting a little bit tired. You know, I know that was a very, very intense first round, and they were both tired. But you saw Fedor slow down a lot. Instead of throwing those 4 or 5 punch combos, he was throwing 1 or 2.
Like the low single on the shin that
yeah.
Right. I mean, when Chael took him down with that, I'm like, wow, that got him down to the ground.
Exactly. You know, so, you know, with Chael shooting those shots kind of to the ground first and then in, you know, I'm running right through you. I'm trying to take you off your feet.
Last night.
Yeah,
well, exactly.
over to the fence and off the fence. So.
And speaking of last night, I think because we want to show, I mean, that was an incredibly dominant performance over Matt Mitrione. We've talked about it all night, actually. Here's a look back at what you were able to do. Just take us through, you know, kind of, we talked about your mindset heading in, where you thought you were going to have the advantage. It pretty much seems like it played out exactly how you thought.
Yeah, I'm fighting a big guy, 255-pounder that's known for his striking and his athletic ability. I take that away. You know, I start grinding on top of him, make him get up, take him back down, rain down some punches on him, you know, threaten him with submissions, and then got the win.
You're the Bellator light heavyweight champ right now. You're one step away from being the heavyweight champ. But then I also saw you in the cage right now, face-to-face with Fedor Emelianenko. You're bigger.
A little taller. He's got a few pounds on me, but yeah, I don't keep stock into that. You know, we saw what he can do, right? I'm excited. I know what I can do. I'm ready.
We had talked about it earlier tonight. Is any of the mystique when that cage door locks, are you going to look across the cage and think, that's Fedor?
I've been here before with a bunch of guys that I've idolized kind of coming up, and I've been in there already. That time has passed. I'm looking across that cage. It's Fedor Emelianenko, but it's an opponent. It's a guy I have to run through to get to my goal, which is a heavyweight championship of the world.
Well, I know that you had talked about the reason why you called out Fedor Emelianenko is because you are the light heavyweight champ. You're on your quest to be the heavyweight champ, which would make you the first ever Bellator 2 division class champ. I mean, that is like a very, very impressive feat. Now it's against Fedor, and you talked about even specifically how significant that would be to you and your legacy. Now that it's settled in, like, have you let that?
It's a true heavyweight, you know, and yeah, he has that. It's for my legacy. You know, he has a mystique about him. He came up doing these Grand Prix tournaments, and to fight him here and for the Bellator Heavyweight Championship of the World, it's an extreme honor.
Well, we can't wait to see you guys in the cage. It's January 26th, fighting at the Inglewood Forum. That's right. It is going to be amazing. All right, we're going to send back down. Good luck. We look forward to seeing you back in the cage, Ryan. All right, we are going to send it back down to Big John and Goldie for more 208 Insights. Guys, what do you got for us?
Ryan Bader and Fedor Emelianenko in the finals. John, I know you're going to try to visit with Fedor, and what a performance from the 42-year-old. You know, you can say this, you can say that about his chin, but look at what he has done now in back-to-back fights.
Back-to-back fights, he has been incredibly impressive. And the one thing that we talked about is his speed as a heavyweight and the power that he possesses. And Chael said it straight out. He hurt me with everything he touched me with. That says a lot about the way Fedor goes about throwing those punches. He's doing things different from the guy in the past to what he's doing now. He doesn't seem to want to be on the ground with anyone. His ground and pound is not there, but he is a guy that can hurt you in the stand-up, and that's exactly what he did.
And he has a legacy, and Team Fedor had a great night because earlier it was Anatoly Tokov with a dominant performance against Alexander Shlemenko.
Well, it was an incredible performance against a guy that I think is the second greatest Russian fighter of all time in Alexander Shlemenko. Tokov did exactly what he needed to do. He closed the distance on Shlemenko, he ground on him, he hit him with straight punches, and everything that he did in that fight worked for him, and that's why he got the win. It was a very impressive victory, in my opinion.
You know what? Maybe it's young guys like Anatoly that are keeping Fedor young.
It can be. A lot of it is, it's the environment of working out.
Sure.
The guys you're working out with, they bring a youth to you. You bring the experience, they bring the youth, and that's why it all works.
Ryan Bader, I love the guy. I've known him forever, but there is going to be a moment where he goes, okay, this isn't just another opponent. This is Fedor. Maybe it won't be after they close the cage door, but I'll tell you what. I remember the first time I saw Fedor walk in, Josh Thompson was standing up like a little kid with his phone, and you did it, Josh, recording his walk-in.
There are guys in the sport of MMA, Royce Gracie. You look at Royce. Royce is one of those originals. And so everyone wants to meet him. Fedor is the same thing. Everyone has respect that has ever fought in this game. They all have respect for Fedor, and what he accomplished in his career and what he's doing now is incredibly impressive.
The only other time I saw Josh get that excited, pull out his phone, and record it first was when we first worked together.
There's those fish stories again.
Oh, yeah, they'll keep coming, buddy.
It's a big fish.
All right, well, we are now joined by Benson Henderson. Hey, congrats on the big win tonight over Syed Awad. Anything out there surprise you from Awad? We had talked about his cardio. He talked about it with us. When we talked to you, you kind of said you thought it was just going to be those first 3 minutes you needed to worry about, but he kept on coming back and being there in front of you.
He was doing a good job pushing the pace. He was going forward the whole time, pushing the pace. Keeping things different. He wasn't just looking for one particular move. I was expecting him to throw just a big overhand right, He did a really good job of mixing up his kicks, mixing up his knee. His knee landed also, so he did a good job of mixing up his strikes and coming forward the whole time. Even though I knew he was tired, but he was still coming forward.
Well, was that part of the game plan, though? I mean, you really started off great with that left roundhouse to the body. That was probably the plan to keep him from throwing the right, and probably led to why you didn't see it as much.
Yeah, exactly. The game plan for me throwing my back leg to his open side was to keep his power hand at home and make him cover up and not able to let loose with it. So that was part of the game plan, yeah.
There's the highlight right there we're just showing right now with that little kick. Your leg kicks, obviously, I fought you, so I understand how powerful they are. You had beautiful takedowns this whole time. I saw how you were driving on the takedown. Was that kind of the game plan? Because I would have expected you to come out standing a little bit more, trying to keep either in or all the way out of range. But today you came out and you actually set the tempo on the takedowns.
Yeah, I wanted to go forward, instill my will in the fight a little bit more. Side, when he fights, I think he does a good job of, if he goes forward and he's the bully and he's able to dictate the pace and tempo of the fight, things go a lot better for him. In my fights, if I can dictate the pace and tempo of the fight, then things tend to go better for me. So I was trying to make sure I did that this fight.
The one thing that I saw that's been different, besides the Roger Huerta fight, was you actually came out with a very fast pace. And I actually really enjoyed that. I love seeing that. Now, does that have something to do with the fact from the past fights and your Bellator fights? Did something have to do with the slow starts because you're used to the 5-round fights, or is it for some other reason?
No, absolutely. Most of my whole career, I've been a slow starter. I'm a notorious slow starter. It takes me the first round to kind of get started, get going, and the second, third, fourth, fifth, I kind of turn it up and I get really going. So the last, I've been working on it my whole career is starting fast, starting first, being aggressive, starting right away. In the last couple of fights, I was able to do a better job of that. And we feel that in my fights, if I can do that right away and I can get the guys going at 100 miles an hour right away, the rest of the fight, it tends to go more my way.
And that was actually one part that actually surprised me a little bit, and I was actually very impressed, was that you put a very strong pace on him, and I'm used to seeing him, fade a little bit. And all of a sudden we saw that he was able to keep it going. Yeah. Were you thinking that at all during the fight, second, third round, you're in a grinding, a Benson Henderson type fight, and he's still there with you?
Yeah, he did a really good job. Part of my game plan going forward was to wrestle him up and then disengage and then be able to outstrike him, be able to slow him down. His punches are going to be a lot slower, keeping his big right hand at home and stuff like that. But then as soon as we disengaged, my arms were a little bit tired. My forearms were a little bit fatigued. So I tried to throw a good hard stiff jab. It came out so slow. Like, oh my. Is that the fastest jab you got, Henderson? Oh my goodness, man, that was pretty slow.
Wrestling does that too.
Wrestling does that too, So I think it's something I need to go back on and make sure I work and pay attention to and work on for my next fight is I'm able to wrestle, disengage, and still be crisp with my striking, still be fast with my striking afterwards.
Hey, it was a great performance from you tonight. We really loved what we saw in the cage. We look forward to seeing you back in the Bellator cage, all right?
Thanks
so much for joining us.
I appreciate that.
All right, Bellator. They took Long Island by storm tonight. That is right. Well, as the winter rolls in, we will continue to bring the biggest fights to the greatest destinations around the globe.
This fall, Bellator MMA goes global, and it starts next month when we return to Tel Aviv, Israel, as featherweight world champion Patricio Pitbull defends his title against Emmanuel El Matador Sanchez. Then we close out November with a middleweight showdown as Melvin No Mercy Manhoff battles Chitty Bang Bang and Jakuani at the WinStar World Casino and Resort. We begin December in Italy as local hero Alessio Sakara headlines Bellator's debut in Genoa. Then it's a holiday treat for all as the Bellator cage travels to Honolulu, Hawaii for the first time for a championship doubleheader on December 14th. It's a rematch for the lightweight title. Former champion Michael Chandler looks for revenge against the man who took his belt, current world champion Brent Primus. Then the very next night, December 15th, exclusively on DAZN, world champion Alima Lay McFarland will entertain her hometown fans when she defends her flyweight belt against Valerie Trouble Latorno. Plus, Lyoto, the Dragon Machida, makes his Bellator debut when he takes on former middleweight world champion Rafael Carvalho. And the first round of the welterweight World Grand Prix continues with a battle of undefeated phenoms as Ed Ruth takes on Neiman Gracie. It's a globe-trotting extravaganza in the months ahead. For tickets and more information, go to Bellator.com.
All right, well, here's a look at what we've got coming up through the end of the year. You want to see one of these great cards live and in person? Check out Bellator.com for your ticket info, or you can head over to your local box office because everywhere from Israel to Italy, we have got you covered. All right, well, after back-to-back fight nights, we are locked. We've got the Heavyweight World Grand Prix final. We've got Ryan Bader. He is taking on Fedor Emelianenko. We saw how it evolved. That's right. We can see here how everyone got to their bracket. Okay, guys, we're going to come back in here. Let's talk about one last little final thought here because, you know, gosh, what we saw from Fedor, I haven't seen him like that in person. I've covered a handful of his fights back at Strikeforce. I'm not going to lie. I know you were fanboying out a little bit. I had my phone out. I know Goldie was giving you a hard time. I had my phone out. What can we expect from him? What does he need to improve upon to now get ready for a Ryan Bader?
I think it's too late in his career for him to improve on too much. I mean, right now this is I believe is it for him. This next fight will be probably his last fight, and so if you miss this fight, you're missing the end of an era, end of a legacy that I think that everyone should tune in and watch. And not just because I'm sitting up here right now, but because there's so much history when you watch him fight, and you saw what he's capable of tonight. And I think now after that performance and his last performance, sorry, Frank, but those two last performances, his confidence is all-time high. And we know in the fight game, when your confidence is high, anything can be done. And we saw a little bit of it tonight, and I can't wait to see what happens with Ryan Bader.
Yeah, I mean, his speed is still there, and I think that's the advantage he's going to have against Ryan Bader. Bader is a strong, powerful, great wrestler, hard-punching guy, but Fedor is quicker. Even though he's the heavyweight, and you're thinking that, Bader's light heavyweight, how is that possible? But it's true, his speed. So he still has the opportunity to catch Bader, and that's what he really has to do. He has to catch Bader the way that he caught Chael tonight early. If he doesn't and he gets taken down, that's where I think there's going to be problems. Problems if you're a Fedor fan, a huge advantage if you're a Bader fan. All
right, well, that matchup is coming your way January 26th from the Forum in Inglewood. All right, well, hey, Bellator likes to over-deliver, and I think back-to-back nights of fights and even this post-fight show could put the USPS out of business. Bellator 208 opened up the night and closed the night with knockouts. Fedor finished Chael Sonnen in the first round of the Heavyweight Grand Prix. Finals now are set. Thanks for watching on Bellator.com and DAZN. For Mike Goldberg, Big John McCarthy, Frank Mir, and Josh Thompson, I am Jenn Brown. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
These guys are easy.
November 16th.
Bellator returns to Israel.
Patricio Pitbull puts his title on the line when he faces Emmanuel Sanchez.
Who's ready for a new champion?
Plus, Phil Davis returns to face Fedor Emelianenko's protege, Vadim Nemkov.
Let's get it on.
Bellator MMA, Friday, November 16th at 9 on the new Paramount Network.